Everyone, it's Shirley Farrar, and this is Encouragement on Fire. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Mother's Day, and so I want to say to all the wonderful mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And to those that decided not to have children, but you are mothers in different ways to individuals within your community. You have imparted so much knowledge. I say happy Mother's Day to you too, as well as some fathers who have been both father and mother. So I hope that your day went well. Now, today we are on part two of osteoporosis, and we're going to get right to it. I wanted to add some information from the Mayo Clinic today. And, I love the Mayo Clinic. They have so much good information about so many different chronic diseases. And there's different things that you can do in order for you to overcome, to get well. Um, I believe that the body can be healed of many things. And if we put in the work, we can really progress to what it is that we need to in order to maintain good health. So, the first thing I would say is the medicine that you are using good for you? And I think that's the first thing we need to ask. If you're going to the doctor and you have been diagnosed with osteoporosis, because that's the only reason you would be taking the medication, you would definitely be wondering, is this the right one for me? So even if someone diagnoses you with osteoporosis, it's always good to say, is this the only option of medication? Is there some other options? And really look into that, because there could be some new things, that, it may be less aggressive or more aggressive, and that should be a decision you and your doctor make. So really ask the doctor, is this the only alternative or are there other alternatives? And then weigh the pros and the cons. Um, I think that it's also about how long the medication would be. You should know about that. Is this medication 6 months? Is this medication 12 months? Is this medication more than that? Is there side effects to the medication? I think that's really important too. Whenever we're about to take anything foreign into our bodies, we should really weigh the cost, because there could be another less aggressive way that can still produce the same results. And also, sometimes, why am I taking this medication when a friend of mine is taking the same medication but a different dosage? You should always ask those questions with your doctor. When you took your blood tests, all the results from that, how it plays out for you. Because remember, your blood is going to be different than someone else's. The nutrients in your blood, the density of your bone, all those things matter, and why the doctor is diagnosing certain things for you. So the question here is, if you are going through osteoporosis and let's say you're also going through cancer at the same time, there's some questions that you need to ask your doctor about, is this going to be in my best interest in the longevity of possible radiation or possible chemotherapy? These are all good questions to ask your doctor. What is going to be my outcome? What am I looking at in 6 months from now on this type of drug? At the same time, you're on the medication, either radiation or chemotherapy. You need to look at that, because you're going to be affected and there's going to be some side effects. But it's better to know which is my alternative. What is the best route for me that I would be least affected but still get the same results? I think sometimes we need to know that, because at least you made the decision. I've seen people, they didn't know there was an alternative. And they said, I wish I had taken that route instead of this one if I had known. So we have to do our own research, our own due diligence, and our own good health. Um, at the same time, we are seeing our doctors and allowing them to, you know, prescribe medication for us. Um, we're allowing them to treat us. We have to have a trust in the doctors that we have. And as I stated to you before, if at any reason you are not comfortable with your doctor, you should move on to the next doctor and make sure that you are confident in how they are treating you. I recently went to a specialist. I won't tell you what it was about, but I went to a specialist recently. And my oncologist, he had recommended him. And I have to say, first of all, I love my oncologist. I think he's awesome. Okay. You know who you are. Um, but I have to say to you that he definitely knows me, because when he said, I'm recommending this doctor to you, and I think you're going to really like him, his demeanor. And I said, okay. So I went to the specialist, and oh my goodness, he was right. Great bedside manner, just a great personality. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that your communication, when you're explaining to your doctor, this is what is going on with me, they are hearing you. At the same time, they're treating you. And there needs to be a balance in that. Like I told you, I would rather someone be able to treat me more so than be kind to me. However, it's nice to have a little of both, but more so, let them be scientifically sound to be able to treat me. So before we go on, I would like to do our Encourage Minute. Hi, everyone. This is Encourage Minute. And I want to talk to you today about what is immunotherapy. So I'm reading from the CRI, or Cancer Research Institute. You can look it up right online. And they're talking about what is immunotherapy. And it says that this is cancer immunotherapy, also known as immuno-oncology. It is a form of cancer treatment that uses the power of the body's own immune system to prevent, control, and eliminate cancer. I thought that I mentioned that to you today because I think that it's really important for us to look up new things. This is not new, of course, because it's been around for a while, and there is developing research about it, and things are becoming better and better. So I just think that this is something that we should really look into, because we've always said there needs to be a balance. So it's good to have the treatments, the medication. We're not saying that, but also the body, if provided the right nutrients, provided it could be medication too, because sometimes with the immunotherapy they add the surgery, they put I believe it's the chemotherapy, and you could still have radiation, but at the same time you're using your own immune system. Yes. And the body can heal itself. So we're using that immune system to be able to eliminate the cancer, and it says here, to educate an immune system to recognize and attack specific cancer cells. That's what their goals are, to provide the body with additional components to enhance the immune response, and also to boost immune cells. I mean, come on. That in itself, I think, is something that we really should say, wow, if you can do all of that, you feel a little better that my own immune system is working. Because most of the time, when an individual gets cancer, we're thinking, the first thing that I was thinking is, wow, my body failed me. That's the first thing, the body failed me, and I failed my body. So in you know, this immunotherapy, they're saying that no, what we're going to do is we're going to work with the body and add the other items, but the immune system is going to eventually heal that body, right? Because we're looking, I think it's almost like an invert of understanding. We're thinking, as soon as we get on the chemotherapy, as soon as you get on the radiation, you're thinking those are the things that is healing the body. But no, they are actually targeted to kill the cancer, or should be targeted to kill the cancer. But the body at the same time should be healing, right? It should be attacking in addition to get rid of that cancer, where normally if it didn't have the chemotherapy or radiation or other, it wouldn't be able to on itself by itself. So think of it that way. And there's more information if you want to read about it. Like I said, Cancer Research Institute, CRI, online, and have a good time reading that article. All right. So we're talking about osteoporosis, and there's some different treatments that we can take if you are diagnosed with osteoporosis. Remember, it's more common in women, 4 out of 1 per man. And usually it's 50 or older, but it doesn't mean that you can't get osteoporosis prior to that. Okay, that's usually when it's diagnosed in women, but it doesn't mean you didn't have it before. And some of the treatments would be pills or would be injections. So the pills, sometimes that would be a daily pill, unless the doctor said you're going to take it once a week, something like that. Injections would be every 6 months. Like, there's a different process. Remember, I said yours is going to be different than someone else's because your blood is going to be different than someone else's. Your bone density is different than someone else's. So your doctor is going to prescribe differently than someone else. They are trying to customize this specifically for you. And I think that's a great thing. You never want the same medication that someone else is having. You know, someone else is saying, well, they gave me such and such milligrams. And you're like, yeah, I got those same milligrams. But is that really customized? Because you are different, you know? So I'm just saying, just think about that. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but at the same time, you shouldn't be more concerned about, well, they didn't give me the same as someone else. Remember, the doctor is there to make sure they prescribe right for you. And then keep in mind, there's going to be some side effects. Absolutely. Anytime we put anything foreign into our bodies, just like they told you, if you're a person that has dealt with chemotherapy or radiation, there's going to be some side effects. The doctor prepares you ahead of time. Sometimes it's hair loss. Sometimes it's skin, irregularities. There's going to be darkening of the skin. I remember when I looked up, after so many chemotherapies, and I looked in my hands and they were totally black. That's frightening. But if someone hadn't told me that, it would have been a nightmare, the skin just doing those things. However, over time, we talk about this body healing itself. That went away, right? And then the body begins to rejuvenate and go backwards, because the longer the chemo is out of your body, the longer the radiation is out of your body, on average, it goes backwards and you heal. But remember, you got to do the work. You have to take the nutrients. You have to be eating healthy. You got to be exercising. And I'm not telling you it's going to happen overnight. I'm saying to you, the longer you're not taking the chemo or radiation, it's going to get better. So I don't want you to think, well, is this going to be my life? Am I going to have to deal with this discoloration? Am I going to have to deal with, no, your nails, the discoloration of your nails, that's going to go away. That's going to go away. You're going to be okay. All of these things in your hair, it's going to grow back. Absolutely. But, there's some cases that it didn't. I'm not going to tell you that absolutely in that. Sometimes people's hair they don't go back. I'm not saying that, you may not be that 1%. I don't want to say that. But normally these things reverse itself. And talk to your doctor about that, because perhaps there was a different medication that you're on that they say the chances of your hair coming back or the discoloration leaving is very small. That's totally different. But I'm saying on average, these things should reverse. And also, if you are taking this medication, let's say that you're taking the pills daily, or you're getting the injections, and all of a sudden you just decide, I'm not doing it anymore. I say to you, follow your doctor's instructions. So if your doctor wants you to finish the medication, you should finish the medication. But will you be okay if you stop the medication? Who knows? There have been studies of a positive result, you know, when someone stopped medication, but also there's studies that not so much. So remember, the blood doesn't lie. Make sure you're getting those blood tests done and talk to your doctor if you feel you don't want to take the medication anymore. Is there an alternative that you can do? These are questions that you always have to do. And also, never come off a medication real quick. If you start a medication, if you decide to get on medication of any kind, don't like do cold turkey. I'm just going to stop taking the medication. I don't think that's healthy for anyone. You definitely should talk to your doctor. And sometimes some medications you have to be weaned off. Some medications, it's okay to come off cold turkey, but you need to talk to the professional. You need to talk to that doctor and find out that specialist and what they are saying to you, because that is, remember, everybody's part of the team. You're part of the team too. It's not, I know you're thinking, well, the doctor and the team. No, you're part of the team. This is your life. This is your body. And it's really important that everybody's working together so that you can be healthy. Okay. So you're part of that team. Get in there and talk to that doctor. Have those questions. Like we said, write those questions down. Get in there and talk to them. The medication that is used for osteoporosis, it's used to reduce the rate at which your bones would break down. So what does it do? It helps you all around to make sure that if you're going through the chemo or you're going through the process, that you have less breakage. These things won't happen as often. And I believe that Evenity is one of the ones that is definitely approved by the FDA and supported in the United States. I'm not too sure about the others, but they could be, so you need to look that up. And these are used if you have very low density bones. So if your doctor says those things to you, what's coming next is there should be some other medications. This is the thing. Can you still be healthy and go through chemotherapy and all these other things? Or can you still be healthy and still have osteoporosis? Well, it all depends on the individual. There is a great chance of you being healthy even if you're diagnosed with osteoporosis. And so it's good to get your medication sooner. It's good to get on the treatment plan that the doctor has for you, because it's really good for us to remember preventive as quickly as possible. And yes, you can look healthy. But sometimes, like I said, the blood will come back and say, this is what's going on, or the doctor will see the different signs you're going through. And even though they're subtle, doctor will say, I'm going to call for this type of test for you. And it could reveal that. So just keep that in mind. And also, there are over 200 million throughout the world who have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. But in the United States of America, there's about 54 million that have been diagnosed. And with medication, what can we do to assist the team that is working to help us to have good health? We've stated it time and time again. What did we say? Exercise, right? I know you're tired of hearing that, but no matter what season you are in this, our whole point is to have good health. So exercise, good diet, nutrition. You have to listen. I don't do well every single day, but I try. And so I make sure in my house I'm putting the right things. But I have other people that live in my house, and sometimes they bring things in, and guess what? I do snack and I'll eat them. So I have to always be proactive and say, Shirley, is this going to be good for you? You need to do what's right every single day. And so you just try. Also, if you're smoking, quit smoking. Smoking and osteoporosis does not work. And then limit your alcohol, like we talked about in part 1 of osteoporosis. One of the things that I learned about this process is that inside of the actual bone, it's like a spun. It's called trabecular bone. Trabecular bone. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. trabecular bone. And then the outer shell of the bone is called the cortical bone. So I'm learning some things as I'm moving forward. I love working with the medical students. I love working with the science students to learn things every day, because we should always be striving to learn more, and to get out of the box, get out of our norm of who we are, right? Educate ourselves, even if it's one thing we learn for that day. Um, and then let's see, being careful if you are going through shortness of breath, if it's difficult for you to exercise, um, if you have had some fractures. We're just repeating some of the things that we talked about prior. These are things that you should bring to your doctor's attention, especially if you're closer to the 50 year and there's no reason for any of these things to be happening. Not saying that it's osteoporosis, but check it out. Make sure that you're going to be okay. Okay. Also, next week, we're going to talk about, some of the foods that are high in calcium and vitamin D, because I think that's really important for, good health if you are diagnosed with osteoporosis. So we're going to maybe have a list of foods. We can talk about some of them, maybe how we can prepare them, those type of things. And then in our fourth session this month, I'm going to see if I can do something special. I have a friend coming to town, and hopefully I can get her to get on camera and we can talk a little bit about some other things. I'm not going to say what they are, but I'm going to bring her on, and I think it's going to be helpful for many of you moving forward. So I think that's going to be a special thing on our fourth, um, part 4 of osteoporosis. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week so we can talk about foods that are high in calcium and vitamin D, and that can help you in the fight against osteoporosis. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.